Okay, so one of the things that's come up recently has been how to get flat objects inserted into round walls. So for example, these little USB-C inserts that I've been using so many of recently, they go great into prints. They're wonderful for 5-volt applications. I love them, but they're flat. And what if I have a round surface that I'm trying to put them in? Well, to exemplify that, I've made just a simple little circle here. Remember, use wall width times number of walls to come up with your dimensions here. And I'm just going to toggle through the steps, give it a base, give it a wall. Cool, now I've got a shape. Well, what I've done from here, I also have this little sketch that I've made. And this sketch, it's going to jump around. Hey, it didn't jump around. Has the dimensions 5.4 or 13.6 for this hole, which is the dimensions of the plug that actually needs to go through there, and then a little bit along the outside, this being the dimensions of the outer lip of this piece right here. You can do this for any type of plug. I'm just using these USB-Cs because they're popular. And the first step here, I'm going to just punch a hole through. So grab this one, extrude it all the way through. That's all that is. The next one, go in here and enable it. See, it kind of flattens this surface off. And the way I did that, I quite literally just pulled the extrusion bar until it barely touched on the edges here. Just barely. If you look at it from the top, you can see where it's just almost quite there. Now the problem in doing that is I've now got a very, very thin wall on the inside. That won't print cleanly, this little piece right here. And this is probably too thick. If I go back and look at this, that's like 1.83. It's pretty thick. Because if I go back and look at these, I don't know if there's a good view. You can kind of see it here. You don't have a lot of space between the outer lip and where it actually grabs. In my experience, very close to 1.5 millimeters is about where you want to be. So the next step on that, turn off measure. Move forward, and what did I do here? Well, on this one, I took that outside box. I gave it an offset off of an object. So I chose this face. It's kind of hard because it's all mixed in. I chose this face right here, the blue face, the one that I had just cut, gave it an offset saying this is how thick I want it to be. So if I zoom in, that offset tells it to go from this face 1.5 millimeters in and then cut again. Now, if I look at it from this side, sorry about that, my mouse is messed up. If I measure that again, this is going to be 1.5 millimeters. Perfect. So now I have something that those little tabs will catch on and be at the correct depth. Everything past here is just kind of cleaning it up. I do one more this time as an add, basically the exact same thing, except instead of cutting, I'm adding. And I'm doing this from that front face and just adding 1.5 millimeters to it. What that does is kind of fill in, and I know with all these overlaid shapes, it's hard to see. Let me turn off that sketch. And maybe it's easier to see if I turn off wireframe. So visible edges only. There we go. So now I have something that probably prints a little bit better here. That shape is a little bit nicer than that harder angle that was there before. I've got a flat surface, which really only matters for these sides, that it'll be able to have those little tabs catch. And anything you do past here is purely for your own cleanup. If you wanted to extend this up, if you wanted to fillet or chamfer this, like, I don't know if it'll work. I'll just grab it and find out. And you could chamfer the edges out if you wanted to try and make that a little bit cleaner. That does come in handy if I were to, let me turn on inspection. Where's my inspection? Section notes, there we go. If I were to cut this in half and look at it, you can see now how I have that, come on. I have that 1.5 millimeter thick wall. Want to do something to try and make that a little bit nicer. On the front side of it, on the outside of it, turn off grid. This you really don't want to pull in too much. So like if I were to try and grab this and chamfer it down, you can do this, and that's not a bad way to go. But remember, you need that lip for it to sit in. So you really can't do much there. Maybe a 0.5 millimeter. Depends on how big you made your box. I left a little bit of room in there for me to do that. This does reduce the amount of support you'll need in the end. So yeah, we'll leave that on there. If you wanted to try and grab like on this side and make that go away, what happens if I grab that and it's going to let me? Probably not. Can I do that one? Yeah, so I could do that. Now that doesn't require supports. That'll print a lot cleaner. So yeah, that's a good idea. Do that. Let me turn the analysis back off. So that doesn't look great. I would take a little bit of time to clean that up. That last one that I threw in there, we grab that edge as well. Okay, so we've eliminated the need for supports on the inside. We've made it a little bit thicker here so it's stronger. That's good. And gosh, that one's ugly. Can I make that just a little bit bigger, maybe 0.75? Or choose a different shape, maybe. What if I do U instead? Will you do it? .5 because that's how big it is. Yeah, whatever. Closer. I'm not going to spend too much time. I don't want to waste your time on the video. I really don't like that. Okay, we'll just leave it like that. I'm going to export this. I'm just going to call it a step file, whatever. Export. Yes, I've already done it. I had a model in here, but I'm going to go ahead and reload this real quick. So now we have our little chamfers and whatnot in there. If I slice this, you'll see now I've got my base comes up, and as it builds up, I've got the little section right here that's 4 walls thick. Hopefully that makes it strong enough. At least 2 of those walls are contiguous so that when those tabs come in, it won't just yank itself right back out. Got the top of it, and then you can see like right here where those chamfers come in, so that instead of being just a hard edge, it tapers out, so we don't need supports there. A couple of them here to help make that a little bit thicker and stronger. Good. We just have to deal with those overhangs. In my profile, I intentionally have it set to only do manual supports, so now we've got supports in there. Cool. What this gives me, if I come in here and play it back one more time, I've got the base of my box, then the opening starts. I've got these little tabs on the side so that the insert will actually not only fit flush against this shape, but also have a appropriately deep spot for those tabs to grab. The top of it prints, and then it goes on about its way. That would work. This is basically what I've done for inserting power plugs and USB-C inserts and all sorts of other things. I've done this with circle jacks, like little 10 millimeter DC jacks as well, to put flat edges on rounded objects there. So you can do this a lot of different ways. Hope that helps.